Hey everybody, welcome back to another video with Gem Mint Masters. I probably say this every time, but I am super excited for this video. This is quite different in terms of the PSA reveal content that we do normally. There is a lot of Michael Jordan cards in this PSA reveal, but this is kind of those step-up cards I've been talking a little bit about, where they're kind of mid-tier cards. We did a ton of grading on low-end Michael Jordan stuff, and now we're stepping it up a notch. And I think the results are going to surprise you because I wouldn't say they surprise me, but I'm happy with them. I'll say that much. You know, going into this, I've always said, like, I don't expect 10s, but I'm always striving for that. I'm trying to evaluate these cards as best as I possibly can. And I think I gotta say it's really paying off. The diligence, the attention to detail, I think is paying off, and hopefully that shows here. So buckle up, this will be a fun one. Yeah, so like I said, we got a PSA reveal. I believe this is 20 cards, so this is just kind of it's either 20 or 23, now I can't remember, but a lot of Michael Jordan, some random stuff mixed in. Got a little bit of baseball in this one too, actually. I did some kind of throwback Thursday videos not that long ago with some cool kind of unique baseball cards I figured I'd throw into here. So yeah, let's go ahead and just get started. And I think this'll kind of be, one of those things. If you're thinking about grading 90s cards, this is kind of the proof to show you that it can pay off. Again, without giving too much away, but I'm excited. I want to get into these, so let's go ahead and just get into it. We got two kind of bad cards in this submission, so I'm just going to get those out of the way real quick. Somewhat, unclear on how they got these grades. So the first one here, we got a Michael Jordan 90 Fleer. 6.5. Here's another submission, or here's another observation I've had recently, and you'll see it in this order a few times. PSA is giving a lot of half grades out now. I don't know if they only do that on kind of older stuff, or if they would even do that on modern stuff, but I've never received a half grade until this order, and there's a few in here. So you'll see as we get through. But anyway, this one, 6.5. There's got to be something major. I just looked over this card. As far as like the edges, the corners, I mean, the centering is a little bit off, so maybe a downgrade of a 1 grade there, but the extra like 2.5 grades, I don't really know where that's coming from. I must have missed something pretty major, but like I said, I looked at all the surfaces. I don't see any creases or bends or anything like that, so that one's a little bit dumbfounding to me, but there we go. I mean, it happens. It seems to happen almost every order. You get some kind of weird grade like that. And then we got one other one that's kind of odd as well. So we got a Barry Bonds, a Superstar Sampler. This is one of the cards I did on a reveal recently. This was a card I pulled fresh out of the pack. There was nothing wrong with it. So I don't know where the heck this 6th grade came from. It was a card that was fresh out of the pack. It wasn't like stuck to anything or anything like that. It seemed very well preserved. It's a finest, so it's that, kind of chromium material. I don't see anything wrong with this card at all. So I don't know how they got a 6. I'll have to, I don't know. I may correct this one. I'm not sure. There isn't much value to it in a 6, as you'll see on the screen here. But yeah, that one was a little weird. So, all right, so we got those out of the way. Now let's get to the good stuff, because there's plenty to celebrate in this order. All right, first card here, another one of our baseball cards. Came out of that same set as Barry Bonds. We got the Ken Griffey Jr. Pre-Production Spectralite 1995 Topps. So this is a pre-production sample. So this came out of the 1994 Topps set. And you get I think it's like a 10-card little sampler. And you get one Spectralite card in there, and it happened to be the Griffey, which is, 1 in 10 chance if you buy that set. Pretty valuable card here. I was really hoping for a 10, but I did notice there's kind of like a print line on this side over here. I don't know if I can capture it, but yeah, I think you can kind of see it. It's like right there. Kind of goes up and down the whole thing. But other than that, I mean, this card was immaculate. Super cool looking card, that Spectralite, so it's kind of like a foil finish. I just thought it would be a cool card to have. If it got a 10, I probably would have kept it in my collection, but I'll probably end up selling that one. But again, a 9, I guess I can't complain too much about that. It's pretty solid. I'll put these ones way over here. All right, now let's get to some of the Michael Jordan stuff. This is a card I was definitely looking forward to. I'm okay with this grade, but was hoping for a little bit higher. We got the Stadium Club Top Crop. We got a PSA 8 on that one. And as you'll see on the screen, the value in an 8 is still pretty high. This is one of those kind of higher mid-tier cards. Could even maybe classify it a little bit higher than that, but you know, when you start getting into the cards where you're spending 20, 30, 40 bucks raw on these cards, the potential on them in a PSA 10 is almost astronomical, but then you start to get down to your 9s and 8s and stuff, and you're still making a little bit of money. So it's definitely worth going down that road, but just do it. You know, you got to take your time to get there. It took me a while to get to that point, you know, subbing a lot of lower end stuff, selling a lot of, you know, modern stuff. Now I'm kind of dipping my toe in this field here, and it's, yeah, I think it's, like I said, I think it's going to pay off. So, that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that 8. Would it be nice to have a 10? Obviously, yes, because I would love to keep it in my collection, but, that should allow me to hopefully trade for, you know, something else. So, all right, next one here, we got another 90 Fleer, and this one got a 9. So this was almost identical to the other one I sent. They looked basically like the same card. So the centering is a little bit off, which if you know this set well, pretty much all of them are off-centered. So to find a perfectly centered copy is darn near impossible. That's why the PSA 10 of this kind of very low-end, super high production card goes for like 300 bucks because it's just hard to find a PSA 10. But if you look at the pop counts on this stuff, man, ton of these have been graded. But again, if you can get it into 10, it's actually worth some money, and it has some good value because there just aren't a ton of them out there. So we got a 9 on that one, not too bad. I'll take a 9 on any, you know, 90s Michael Jordan stuff. I consider that a success. Shooting for 10s, but you know, kind of expecting 9s if we're doing everything the way we should be doing. And yeah, so, and the next card is a good testament of that as well. We got a PSA 9 on the 1996 Finest. I talked about this a little bit before. I've probably peeled every single Finest Jordan that I've graded at this point. There's a protective film on there, and you'll see like the writing going this way if it's on there. But man, like for the most part, they don't come in great condition. They have, you know, scratches on the outside of them, but once you peel that protective film off, the surface looks almost flawless on here. So it's a much better look, I would say, by taking the film off and potentially getting a 10 as opposed to getting like a 7 with leaving the film on. But, you know, on the flip side, if you do find an immaculate film on it, there's definitely a lot more value in keeping that on and getting a 10 if you can. But a PSA 9 in this one, again, you'll see, you know, decent value, and definitely some money to be made if I do decide to sell that or trade it or whatever it may be. Same with this card. We got another 9. 1997 Fleer Flare, hardwood leaders. There were 2 years of the hardwood leaders. I know one of them came in the Fleer packs, and I think this one did too, but I could be wrong on this particular one because this one is a lot more valuable than the previous year. So I believe this might have been one that actually came in the Flare packs, but the other one came in the Fleer packs as like a special insert Flare. So this one, again, as you'll see, even in a PSA 9, I think when I bought this, I want to say I paid around 20 bucks. Starting to go for a little bit more now. I think any Jordan stuff is starting to go for a lot more, but that's also translating to the graded stuff too. So, you know, I was able to get a pretty solid deal on this and make a little bit of money at a 9, which is nice. So got a decent stack of 9s going here. All right, we got another baseball card, same set. Out of that 94 Topps, Barry Bonds, Topps Gold. You get a few Topps Gold, so I got a 9 on that one. You know, I definitely thought some of these had potential in a 10 because the set was just super clean, hadn't been touched. There weren't any, like, sticking issues or anything like that. So, you know, I was definitely hopeful that some of these were going to get a 10 potentially. So, you know, it looks like so far we got the Griffey and the Bonds. got 9. So can't complain too much. There's definitely still some value in a 9. Not cards that I plan on keeping, but I just thought they were too cool not to submit for sure. So that's a fun set to open. If you get the 1994 top set, you can get them super cheap. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and a lot of good value as well. All right, next one here, we got another Jordan, and we got another 9. And this is another high value 9. You can get these cards fairly cheaply. This card looked amazing, except for this little issue in this top corner up here. And I think it kind of shows on the front and the back a little bit. So, you know, I knew this was going to be a long shot to get a 10, if not impossible. But I'm actually happy with that 9. So again, as you can see, there's a lot of value in a 9 on something like this. I've had a lot of luck finding some really good copies of these with minimal to no surface scratching, which is really hard to find. I actually picked up a small collection from somebody recently that had about 3 of these in there. And it's like they went straight into the top loader when they opened them back in the day, and they never came out. So that's huge if you can get stuff like that. So I'm happy with that. PSA 9, famous nicknames. Super expensive in a PSA 10. So hopefully one of our next ones that are coming, maybe we'll have a shot at that. But that one corner issue, I think, is what kind of held us back. Alrighty, another one here. Another fun card here, 1995 Finest. This is my second one of this I've submitted. And again, peeled the protective film off. This one got an 8. The previous one we did got a 9, so that was pretty cool. I think the 9 is about $100, and this is somewhere in the $50 range. So again, even in an 8, you're looking at kind of getting your money back. But again, the value of a lot of this stuff has gone up. So I think I paid a lot less raw on this one than it goes for now, because I've had these for quite some time. But again, I think the value will continue to translate whether it's raw or graded. So if the graded prices go up, the raw prices go up, the graded prices should go up as well. So definitely, again, a nice value card. So we got a couple nice PSA 8s here. Again, still with some decent value. Speaking of 8s, but not quite, this is a card I'm actually very excited about. This one, Skybox Dynamic Dunks 8.5. So this is going into that half grade that I was talking about. This is an insanely hard card to gem. There just aren't many out there at all. PSA 9 carries quite a bit of value, and this 8.5 isn't so bad either. I've picked up about 4 of these, I would say. These ones are just kind of interesting. I did a little video on it. So this and the famous nicknames, these were in, I think I spoke wrong on that one. That was actually in a frame, a framed plaque. So it was these 2 cards side by side, very nicely contained in this plaque. So, you know, to get a 9 and an 8.5 in these older 90s cards, and, you know, probably paid $20 a card, $30 a card, whatever it was, I'm not complaining whatsoever. Would I love to have a higher grade? Sure, of course I would, but that's a really nice grade in that card, an 8.5, and a lot of clean corners. But man, it's like an all foil card on the front, so it's really hard. You're gonna get some chipping on there. You can see a little bit of whiting on that corner. It's just almost, like I said, almost near impossible to get this and grade it yourself in a PSA 10, but I'm still on that mission, and, you know, hopefully someday I'll be able to do it. But 8.5, not too bad. We'll throw this in the 8 pile for now. All right, next one here. Got another 8. Pretty cheap insert here. I definitely thought this was gonna do better, but I think I can see why maybe it got an 8. A little bit of minimal corner issues here, but you know, this is definitely a valuable card in a PSA 10, but it kind of drops down from there. But again, this is a card you can pick up pretty cheap, so not too bad at all. So I'm not gonna complain too much about an 8, but I think this is one I'll definitely have to kind of learn a lesson from, be a little bit more careful on this all NBA, because you really kind of got to get a 9 on that one to get something back on it. Alrighty, next one here. This is definitely my biggest victory, I would say, of this order, and I almost said I knew this one going in. I remember doing the pre-reveal or pre-submission on this one and saying that I thought this card looked amazing, and it turns out it was. We got PSA 10, 1996 Skybox Premium base card. This is a base card. you can pick up for $5, $6 all day. And look at the value on this thing. This is crazy. This is a really great example of why I love doing this. You can take a $6 card and you can turn it into a $400 card. Crazy multipliers, crazy value. Not something you're going to get on modern cards. So, and I've said before on this one too, I find that the quality control on this was really good. I'm either seeing them look immaculate like this one, or there'd be like a print line on the surface. So if you're buying this card, just watch out for that. It's either like everything else looks great on every copy pretty much I've seen. So this is one where you've definitely got some really good potential on. So if you see that one, I would definitely go for it. I recommend it. All right, next one here, we got a modern football card. Got a Jordan Addison 2023 Donruss Optic Teal Velocity. I've done really well in these teal velocities. Top to bottom, this one's probably the thing that did it in. The centering isn't the best, but I picked a lot of these up for fairly cheap. With everything going on with Addison, I don't think this one's gonna make me any money. It's probably gonna be a loser for me, but I just love the look of the teal velocity, and I've had really good success, so I figured I would just submit that one. So we got a 9, not too bad, but again, on a lot of this modern stuff, you really got to get a 10 to get anything out of it. So there you go. Alrighty, we're kind of flying through this stuff. Let's keep moving. Got another Michael Jordan card here, and we got another PSA 9. We did really well on these cards, I would say. 10s are going to be tough, but man, I am not complaining about 9s. 1993 Fleer Sharpshooter, cheaper insert. You can pick these up for pretty cheap, $5 to $10. But again, it is so hard to find a good copy. So if you're going to pick up this stuff, maybe you want to keep a copy for your personal collection, then go for it. And I wouldn't worry too much about the quality, but if you're going to grade these, just wait. Be patient. Wait for the right copy. This one looks really good. I think I have another one out there too being submitted to, but I'm not going to complain about a 9. These are just super hard to get even 9s on. So decent value in a 9 on this, I think, is around $60. And again, you're only paying, $5-10 on this. So pretty solid there. Alrighty. Next card here. This is another random 90s card I picked up. I'm a little disappointed in this grade. I thought it was going to do a little bit better, but we got the Alonzo Mourning Skybox Emotion Intense. These are super cool looking cards. I'm looking for the Jordan of this at some point. Got that gold foil look. Picked this up for like $10. The Jordan goes for like $200 to $300 raw, and then probably $1,000 to $1,200 in a PSA 10. You got a few of these in a box of this 94 Emotion. I think that was the only year they did it. And then but yeah, such a cool looking card. I had a bunch of these, and I looked at a bunch of these at a show, and I only ended up buying this one because it was the nicest looking one, and I got an 8 on it. So I'm definitely glad I didn't buy any of the other ones. But yeah, so still some decent value in that. I was a little surprised, actually. I didn't think there would be as much value in this, but super cool card. I love that. I'm probably going to get some more of those if I can pick them up. I'm going to look a little closer on them. But I think there's some nice value. But all right, so we're sitting on kind of one PSA 10 here, but I'm gonna close this reveal off with a bang and show you 4 cards all at once, because this was probably the highlight of this this reveal, other than this amazing card right here. So I submitted 4 of this card. This is the 1998 Topps Finest Michael Jordan. Pretty high gem rate on this one, I would say. But again, still, like, I would never assume that, I'm going to get a 10 on these. So I am super happy with that. So we got a 10 here. Peeled the film off of all of these. Looked fairly closely at them, but they're the nice chromium cards. So they, for the most part, they're going to be high quality. Wasn't sure how we were going to do on these. And I figured, sometimes if you submit a bunch at a time, kind of raises your chances of getting a 10. So I went ahead and did that. So we got a 10 here. I'll just go through, and I'll throw the value up kind of combined, I think, at the end here. Got a 10 here. We got a 10 on the second one. We got a 10 on the third one. And can you guess? We got a 10 on the fourth one. We were 4 for 4 PSA 10s on the 1998 Finest Michael Jordan. I'm super pumped on that one. $150-ish value. So not nearly the value you're going to get on some of the 1995, 96 Finest, but man, I can only expect that value to go up. And the fact that we went 4 for 4 and we still kind of hit our like 3 to 4x on that, no complaints whatsoever. So I'm super happy. This order overall, I'll throw up a summary at the end here, but we only got 5 PSA 10s out of 20 cards. But this is the crazy part. We actually outperformed the expected gem rate. So 5 out of 20 is our 25%. And I'll throw it up again here as a summary, but we outperformed the expected gem rate. These are older cards, crazy hard to hit gems on a lot of this stuff. So anytime you can get a gem, it's a win, I would say. And again, all these 9s, we got a really large stack of 9s here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 9s. So between our 9s and 10s, 13 out of 20, we got either a 9 or higher. So this has turned out to be a really good order. So I'm kind of hard on myself. I would love to get 10s on everything, but I've kind of come to terms of reality here, and I'm doing the best I can. I'm gonna win some, gonna lose some. But if you get into grading older cards like this, you got to temper your expectations a bit. Shoot for realistic goals. As I'm showing here on the screen, the expected gem rate is, in the 20% range, and we hit 25. So we outperformed it by a little bit. So I should be happy about that, right? Yeah. But again, my goal is to do better than that. So, yeah. So again, this was a super fun one. Obviously the value is there. We did very well, making over 100% profit on this, in terms of value. Some of these cards are ones I'm going to be keeping in my collection, but, a lot of these 9s and definitely the 8s and stuff I'm going to be selling. So I think we'll be able to recoup that, grading cost, no problem whatsoever. But, yeah, so again, super fun order. Thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, there's hope out there to get PSA 10s and older stuff, 90s cards. The proof is in the pudding, and here it is. So, all right. Thanks for joining me. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. We've got a lot more PSA reveals coming in the very near future. Probably some PSA pre-submissions mixed in, and then maybe some more throwbacks coming too as well. I'm going to try to find some kind of lower end but fun 90s stuff to rip. And see if we can have some fun with that. But yeah, again, thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.